And now let's pay attention to where we might find tension or stiffness or tightness in the body. And can we exhale that tightness, that stiffness? Can it wash out? And we may feel just little layers of it move, like sand being washed in ocean waves. But if we keep our concentration on releasing the tension, the body can become more open for fluid movement, more open to invite in a sense of spaciousness. Can you picture a wide open sky in the mountains? And invite the sky into the body, whether it's the blue sky of day or the star-filled sky of night. And can you let that space even come into the tight or restricted places? The exhale, ocean waves washing out the tension. The inhale, bringing in the sky. And if we stay with the sound of the ocean waves and the felt sense of the sky, we can bring fluidity and space into the body. And feel the sensations of the ocean waves and the open sky. I told a story in this last newsletter of the Buddha's relationship with Mara. Mara trying to bring everything in that would stop Buddha from attaining enlightenment, sent armies and warriors, temptresses and temptations, all towards Buddha. Things that Buddha would feel averse to. And Buddha remained in his meditation, calm, as Mara kept hurling possibilities towards Buddha that would pull Buddha away from enlightenment. But under that Bodhi tree, Buddha did attain enlightenment. But that didn't mean Mara gave up. Mara kept appearing throughout Buddha's life. And Ananda, Buddha's attendant, would say, "Oh, the evil one has come. We must get rid of him." And Buddha would say, "No, I see you, Mara, and I'm inviting you to tea." And Buddha would sit down with Mara for tea. So part of this friendliness we work to develop in our yoga practice towards ourselves comes with recognizing all that is there without shutting it out or pushing it away. Even the feelings that we might feel we quote unquote should not have. So let's sit for a moment with our hearts and notice what's flowing through. Like Tara Brach instructs, can we recognize what is here? And can we allow for it? And then when we have time during our day, can we investigate what we find? And whatever we find, can we nurture ourselves? And can this yoga practice support the nurturing, the recognition, the allowing, the investigating? Heart openers don't only open the spine and the pelvis and the psoas pathway, they actually stretch open the heart so that emotions flow more easily. You may notice this. Let's inhale our hands to our hearts. And being good friends to ourselves, can we pay attention to what's there and allow it to be what it is and nurture ourselves? Namaste. Let's bring our breath to the mat and let's lay on our backs and begin with some core awareness. Please bring in a block, or if you have one and you'd prefer, a ball, and lay down on your mat. Arms to your sides, palms up, thumbs out. Feet resting, heels in line with sit bones. Let's inhale and take the arms overhead, palms facing skyward, thumbs facing in, and stretch on the inhale. And then exhale the arms back down by our hips, palms up, thumbs out, external rotation of the arm bones. We inhale the arms up overhead, thumbs in, and stretch. Inhale, stretching us to. We exhale, relaxing the arms back down to the sides, relaxing the shoulders broad. We inhale and reach overhead. And we exhale, arms back to our sides and relax. Then let's inhale the arms up and interlace the fingers, bringing the hands right behind the head. Let the head rest heavily into the hands and traction the back of the neck a little bit. Now we're going to begin to release the hands support away from the head just a little bit, 5%, 10%. And then traction the back of the neck again. And start to feel the front neck flexors around the Adam's apple activate. Let the hands release enough that you feel those muscles really turning on, but don't release the hands so much that the side of the neck or the back of the neck gets involved. You want those muscles around the Adam's apple growing stronger in this practice. If you release your hands too much, you'll activate muscles that are more regularly supporting the neck. Now release the head heavily into the hands one more time. Relax the neck. Make your jaw move like a grasshopper back and forth. Relax the jaw. Traction the back of the neck. And then again, release the hands almost slowly away from the head, just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. See what your level of waking up the front neck flexors is. Make sure your hairline is at least even with your chin, perhaps a little above. And release the head back to the mat, arms to your sides. And grounding through shoulders and out arms, float one foot off the floor just an inch. And feel from that foot across to the other side body, low ribs and shoulders. And then release the foot. And float the other foot off the floor, grounding the opposite side body. Feel how your torso can become stability for a moving limb. And release. And then float your right leg up and float the left leg up to join and begin your toe dips. Keeping your knee at a right angle. You can come knees shoulder distance wide and you can dip at an angle if you prefer. Fluid breath. Or you can keep your shins parallel. And then let's come up, bring the shins parallel, and take the left leg out to the left, grounding the right side body, shoulder, low ribs, sacrum. Exhale, left leg back in, take the right leg out, reach across to left shoulder, left ribs, left sacrum. And come back in, and keeping this solid foundation of the upper body, take the legs out like pages of a book. Trying to keep the upper body stable and still. You may feel from ribs to hip pointers also helping you stabilize. When we learn to consciously create stability, we use the stability unconsciously in our daily lives. Let's draw the knees in and circle them wide and back together again, wide and back together, and then take them the other way. Fluid breath. And then drawing the right knee in, lengthen the left leg out. You can keep your head here or nod nose towards mouth and lift it. Contraindicated for osteoporosis. Better to keep the head on the floor in that case. And we switch and switch and switch and switch. Fluid breath. Maybe it's inhale, 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 exhale, exhale, exhale. Maybe it's just two. And then draw both knees in. Reach hands and feet for the sky. Lower hands away from feet. Circle the arms and hug the knees in. Inhaling out and exhaling in. Inhaling and exhaling your ujjayi breath, moving the body now. One more. Inhale and exhale. And then bring your hands behind your head. And draw your left knee in, lengthening the right leg, lifting the right elbow for yogic bicycle. Pause there for a moment. Feel into what's working and then switch sides. Let the head really rest heavily into the hands. Come into the core and switch and switch and switch. Find that lift from the elbow. Find the shoulder blade lifting off the mat. With osteoporosis or penia, we lift straight up with the elbow. Those of you who want to come more into a twist, it's armpit towards opposite knee. Fluid breath, but we're not flopping across the body. We're lifting as much as we reach the armpit towards the knee. And we keep going a little longer to wake up the muscles of the core so they're more likely to stretch open for us. And then we come back to center and we release. And we release one leg and then the other. And we pause in our constructive rest with the breath. Can you breathe and feel the ocean waves wash into the body and wash out? And can you relax with each exhale? Can you recognize sensations and emotions and allow for them, whatever they are in this moment? Offering ourselves this practice of awareness. And then head off a pillow if you're using one. Let's bring a block in on low under the sacrum. And when you're settled on the sacrum, bring one leg to tabletop and then the other. And let's straighten both legs. Come into a little V with your feet, heels together, and take the legs wide down the mat, together and up. Don't take them to your widest stability. Take them somewhere in mid-range, a little wider than your shoulders perhaps. Last time we went shoulder distance wide to begin with. Mid-distance wide, we start to learn to have more precise control over the body. And now come up the midline and go down the midline, opening up. Keep your front ribs integrated and reaching towards the hip pointers. And two more. And then rest and draw your knees in towards your chest and take some breaths into the whole circumference of your lowest ribs. Relaxing on each exhale, because part of opening back bends is learning to relax, release tension so that the spine can lengthen. Now keep the right knee drawn in, lift the left foot up, flex the foot and take the heel long over the block. You can hold on underneath the femur or you can hold on to the shin of the right leg. And then you can begin rocking a little bit, drawing the knee towards the chest and letting the heel come towards the floor. And then you can settle into the stretch. Your legs may even want to open away from each other on a diagonal. That's okay too. Breathe into letting the body open, feeling sensation, feeling how sensation may be connected to emotion. Fluid breath. Breathing towards ease. Really finding the relax of the exhale. Then let's draw back towards the midline of the body, and we'll draw the left knee in and lift the right foot up, flex the foot, and take the heel towards the floor. It may not reach the floor, that's okay. It may just extend out long. And we can begin rocking a little bit on the block until we feel like, okay, I'm ready to settle open in the pose and perhaps even let the legs open on a diagonal. And breathe into whatever is stretching open, working towards the exhaled relaxation of the stretch. And then let's gently draw back in towards midline, and let's release and lift up off the block. And let's lower the pelvis towards the floor. Actually, let's come all the way to the floor. Make sure your heels are aligned with your sit bones. Think of your feet as parallel at the second metatarsal. Now inhale, lift the pelvis, and exhale and lower. Four corners of the feet plugged in. We lift and lower and inhale and exhale, stretching the psoas pathway, moving like water. Now inhale, lift, pause at the top and pulse the pubic bone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Reach the tailbone towards the backs of the knees. Soften the heart and roll down one vertebrae at a time, rolling out your lumbar curve. And then tailbone towards earth, natural lumbar curve. Tailbone towards sky, peel off one vertebrae at a time, back up into your bridge. Take an inhale into the full circumference of the torso. Exhale, soften, let the wave of your spine roll down to meet the shore. And then release into your natural lumbar curve. And one more time, tailbone towards sky. Really try to find the peeling off action. Peeling the spine off the floor, coming up and inhaling into the full circumference of your rib cage. And then one more time, exhaling, softening at the heart, softening down through the vertebrae, coming into your natural lumbar curve. Let's just do a few pelvic nods, tailbone towards sky, tailbone towards earth. Feel your pelvis moving and its connection with your lumbar spine. Its connection with your femur bones, its connection with your feet as it moves, its connection with the movement of your head, neck, and shoulders. Feel how the pelvis moving changes the whole body. And then come to neutral. Let's roll ourselves to the side and reach for our blanket roll. Now, if your shoulders don't open easily, you can bring in blocks for your hands, or you can bring in a bolster behind your blanket roll if you have one. We come up onto our blanket roll. Remember, it can be whatever size serves your back. The tops of the shoulders are towards the top of the blanket roll. We traction the head like we did earlier, and we begin to take the head over. Some of you may want a pillow for under the head. And we lengthen the arms up towards the sky. The low tips of the shoulder blades are now on the uphill slant of the blanket roll. And then we release the arms like we did earlier in class, palms up, thumbs towards one another, at least shoulder distance wide. And we release back onto our bolster, our blocks, or the floor, or a blanket, or a couch cushion, or a footstool, whatever you have. And we let ourselves breathe here. And you may pause with your knees still up in constructive rest. When you feel ready, you may want to lengthen the legs. Some of you may not want to. And then we just settle in again to the breath. We were working on the lower spine for back bends earlier in the bridge. Now we're breathing release into the upper spine, keeping the back of the neck long. And if you feel like your chin is jutting and the back of the neck is short, reach for a blanket or a pillow to support the length of your neck. And let yourself breathe yourself open. Invite sky into the body. Clear, open mountain sky. Let your body rest like soil over the blanket roll. And as the ocean waves of breath wash in and out of the body, can the spaces between the vertebrae and the thoracic spine find a little less stiffness? Invite in a little more space. And even here in a supported back bend, can we feel into the heart center, into the stretch, into the connections between physical body and emotional body and energetic body and mental body. And then let's walk the feet in, draw the hands under the head, support the head as we lift up and roll off the bolster, or the blanket roll. Let's reach for our bolster or a folded blanket or two for our Salimbasana and Cobra work. Okay, so you'll want a block for your forehead. You want your lowest ribs at the top inseam of the bolster. And we lay down on our bellies. Forehead on the block. Make sure your low ribs are supported by the bolster, but your chest is off. So the lowest ribs are on the bolster. The chest is off. Now you can work with your forearms. If this hurts your wrists, you can stay on your forearms, elbow under shoulder, or you can bring your hands into Chaturanga, fingertips pointing forward. Shoulder blades on the back body. Find the helium balloon under pelvis, navel, and low ribs. And I really want to see not a cobra back, not a piked butt back. I want to see a plank. So you may not lift up off your supports. Tailbone reaches towards heels. And if you lift off, I want it to be a long line, not a piked up butt, not a lifted shoulder girdle. I want to see that core connected, ribs to hip pointers. And then release. And I lifted a little higher than I'd like you to lift there. We're working on low plank. Shoulder blades on the back. Broadening across the collarbones. Press into hands and feet. Helium balloon under pelvis, navel, and low ribs. And release. Point the toes back. Isometrically draw back with the hands and inhale. Lengthen the spine as you lift off. Pubic bone into bolster in a semicircle towards the inner collarbones. We inhale into the cobra and we exhale, lengthening the spine as we come back down. So follow your breath, inhaling your cobra up and exhaling your cobra down. These are really important back bends because you have support here. You can feel the pubic bone grounding. Keep going with your own breath. I'm going to come over and just take a look for a moment. Fluid breath. Good. Nice long neck. Ellen, very nice. Really try to find that pubic bone into the bolster so that you're not over bending where it's easiest. Beautiful neck, Sharon. Good. And a few more, really following that ocean wave breath. Very nice, Sue. That looks good, Anna. Fluid breath. Beautiful, Donna. Okay, these look great. Now exhale back down. We're coming into Salimbasana. So hands to your sides, palms down, thumbs out. Find that same motion, pubic bone, grounding through the bolster and reaching up to be connected with your inner collarbones. And then float, hyoid bone, heart, head, arm bones, head of the arm bones, above wrists. Lifting the feet, we lengthen out and we breathe into the posture. Now here in this back bend, can you feel your hip pockets and your shoulder blades and stretch them away from each other? Can you broaden across the collarbones and reach out into each finger? Can you wake up the toes and feel the four corners of the feet? And then exhale, float back down. The whole body is a part of the posture. We inhale, we lift, we float up. We float up easily. There's so much water and air in the body. We're open and expansive. We breathe into the opening. Fluid breath, space, water. And then we exhale and we release back down and we float back into a supported child's pose. Now here, this is important too. We're opening hips. We're breathing space between the vertebrae as we rest. So really rest on the prop. Breathe space between the vertebrae. Breathe space between vertebrae and back ribs. And then move your prop out of the way. Reach into your lengthened child's pose. And walk your hands around to the right, stretching from left hand to left sit bone. The breath washing in along the shore of this left side body. Relax away the tension. Let's walk back through center to the left, stretching the right side body long from sit bone to fingers. Feel the myofascial network of the body begin to open as the breath massages it open. Visualize your body water. Come back to center and then roll toes under to come up for downward dog. Come up into a bent knee downward dog. Find your index finger knuckle, each finger pad. Press back through the length of your spine. Then begin to straighten the legs and take the femur bones back behind you. It's not about getting the heels to the floor. We come into our downward dog and then step forward, knees bent. We inhale and reach up for the sky. We pause here, reaching up, looking up, keeping the back of the neck long. Take the hands behind you, a little tailbone towards earth. Utthasana, reach the hands back behind you, standing back bend. Exhale, hands to the heart, and release. And pause with your breath. Let your head rest back, hyoid bone rest in. Let's inhale, arms up. Take the left palm up, right arm down, bringing the right arm around in a snake-like movement from Qigong, where we help open the rotator cuff. Feel in behind the shoulder blade of the back arm. See if you find a stretch of back ribs away from the spine, creating space in the body for our back bending. Fluid breath. And then come back to center and pick up your strap. Take the strap behind you, outer hip distance wide, palms back. And bending the knees, we soften the groins back and hinge forward, bringing the arms up behind us. Arms ahead of the arm bones, don't curl forward. We keep open across the collarbones. We bring the hands up, up, and towards over. Those of us who have tight hamstrings, pause wherever we can keep a long spine. Those of us who have more of the ability to bend can come forward over the legs and let the arms come down towards the earth. Listen to your own body, honor your own body, feel into what's there, the emotions, the heart of it. We each have a unique body. Other bodies aren't better. One more deep inhale. And then we exhale, hands back to the sacrum, and we unfold, bringing the strap forward. We're going to inhale up and perhaps pause wherever's best for us. Perhaps bring the strap around back. And those of us who pause when we come forward, eventually we'll take the strap behind the back and we'll lift back, broadening across the collarbones. You may even want your palms forward for that, like you're coming into a back bend or like a Purvottanasana plank. Those of you who have the shoulder opening can bring the strap overhead, down around behind you. And then inhale overhead, up front. We inhale and take it around. And we exhale and bring it back over. Fluid breath. Saying good morning to the shoulders, to the opening heart. If you can pause somewhere along the way and breathe into the heart center, allowing for a stretch across the chest, then please do. And we come back up and over. Okay, let's put down the strap. Oh, no, sorry. Bring the strap around your neck. Bring the elbows in. And bring the strap under the occiput and lengthen the back of the neck. Traction the back of the neck, keeping your gaze horizontal. Lift, stretch the neck. Now, rest the head slightly back into the strap, reaching up with the arms. Feel a stretch, hopefully in the muscles at the base of your skull. They may even be tucked up under the skull. You may feel that. But the head can start to come back. Tailbone grounding, so you're not throwing the pelvis forward. Groin soft. Rest the head back. Lengthen the back of the neck. Lift the heart. Lift the shoulder blades into the back body. And then exhale and release. Okay. Either let's actually try this with our blocks today on high in this class. And we're going to come into high lunge, crescent, and low lunge. And so if you need a blanket under your knee, you can get one. I have a triple mat here, so I have nice padding for my knees. Okay, and then we start, and we'll move through a little bit of a sun salutation to get here. We'll inhale, reach the arms up, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Imagine you still have the back of the skull by the strap, so keep the back of the neck long. Reach up, open the standing back bend, and exhale, arms to your sides. We fold forward. We inhale, come to fingertips on the blocks or even come up to the legs and stretch the spine long in a cow-like pose. Bring the hands to the blocks. Float. One foot up and take it back, your choice. Come into your high lunge. Pause in your high lunge and try to level your pelvis. So imagine there's a balloon in the center of your pelvis. It fills the pelvis and it's leveling the pelvis for you. Come to fingertips. You can stay here and think long spine, lifted pelvis, and just feel that stretch, or float the fingertips off the blocks and lift. Before you begin the back bend, remember the tailbone grounds you, pubic bone lifts towards navel, and then it's like we're reaching up into straps held by the hands, side body's long, heart lifts, lower tips of the shoulder blades can come into the back, lifting the heart. We take a deep inhale. Feel your front neck flexors activate if your head comes back, back of the neck long. We exhale, come back down to the blocks and lower the back knee, pointing the toe, letting the hips hinge forward if they'd like to, coming to fingertips. You can stay here or bring the front leg arm onto the femur palm up. Bring the other arm up off the block, reaching for the sky, the back leg arm. You can pause here, or you can bring this lifted skyward arm around back to the thigh of the back leg, lifting the front arm skyward. Anywhere along that pathway that's good in your body. Stay strong to the four corners of the front foot. Take another deep inhale, and then exhale. The arms come back to the blocks. We roll the toes under, lift the pelvis, and step forward. Feet are hip distance or they're in like Tadasana feet. And then we bend the knees. Inhale, lift to Utkatasana. Warming up our quads now, fierce pose, back of the neck long. We pause here with the breath. Feeling into sensations, we look for pleasant sensations, unpleasant sensations, neutral sensations. And then we inhale and lift, lift, opening the heart, tailbone grounding us. Exhale, hands to the heart. These standing back bends help us reverse this constant kind of forward leaning thoracic spine if we can really ground the lower back to do this. Hands by the hips. We inhale and reach skyward. Again, back of the neck long. Imagine you're holding the strap. Traction the neck. Front neck flexors turn on. Reach through the fingers. And exhale, arms wide. Come to the blocks. Inhale. Lift up. It's like a cow pose. Lengthen, look up. And take your other leg back. So more and more work in the movement world says that we should let you use your strong side. So I'm trying to do that more often. Bring the knee to the floor instead of assuming that you want to do the side I want to do. Okay, or that we always begin right. So you can draw your blocks back and, oh, sorry, I didn't want to do that yet. Come back up to your high lunge. Find the balloon under your pelvis. Really stay strong in the back leg and float up, lifting. Imagine you have ropes in your hands and you can stretch your side bodies with those ropes from the hips. Find your hip pockets stretch up to your shoulder blades. Let that back body help support the opening of the back bend. Back of the neck long. You're not jutting your chin forward. And then we exhale. Hands back to the blocks. And we lower the knee. And then we let the hips come forward slightly if they like to. And then we move through our series. Blocks can come back. We can press and pause here. This is really good stretch. So if this feels like it's what's best in your body, it's great to stay there. The front arm can come onto the front knee. The back leg arm can lift skyward. We pause. We feel into this. Maybe this is where we want to stop. Can we stay integrated in the pelvis here? If we can, then we bring the hand back. If it doesn't feel like it's going to strain, we lift the other arm skyward and we open into our back bend. Fluid breath. Back of the neck long, front neck flexors alive. And then wherever we are, we unwind from the pose. We roll the toes under and lift the pelvis. And we step forward, feet parallel at the second metatarsal. We inhale up Utkatasana. And we pause with the breath, feeling into our fierce strength, our capacity to recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture ourselves. Let's inhale, reach skyward. Exhale, hands to the heart. Pausing here, breathing into the heart, feeling into the body, the physical body, the energetic body, the mental body, the emotional and intuitive body. Okay, let's move the blocks out of our way and let's come either to a wall or to a chair, or if you don't need support for runner's stretch, you can do it open and free. So you can hold the chair at the side, you can face the chair. I'm going to give you some freedom in this. You're a level 2 group. We'll bring one foot into strap or into hand. Okay, so here. And let the knee go. Find length in these front hip flexors. That's what we're after. So try to find head of the arm bone, stretching the side bodies long, shoulder blade on the back body. And then let yourself just be in the stretch. Fluid breath, heart and inner collarbones lifting. Can you broaden from one shoulder to the other so it becomes a heart opener as well as a psoas pathway stretch? Can you lift pubic bone to navel, navel to heart center, inner collarbones? Can you find hip pockets? So your buttocks in the back where your pockets would be, can you stretch up to your shoulder blades? And release. Pause. Feel your legs side to side. And then lift the other leg. Bringing the heel in towards the sit bone, reach the knee towards the earth. Find the lift, pubic bone to navel, navel to heart center. Find your shoulder blades on the back. Inner collarbones lift. Perhaps your gaze rises a little bit. Knee towards earth. Four corners of the standing foot plugged in. So you're not collapsing to the inner arch or the outer arch. So that your inner knee can lift up towards the groins. And we feel collectively how the body works to support beautiful alignment. And release. Okay, if you have a ball, you can use that. If you have a block, you can use that. We're going to come to the wall. And I'm going to turn my computer slightly. Okay. So you can either place the ball on the wall, place it up high enough on your sternum that when you ground through the four corners of the feet and lift, you can roll the ball up the wall and let the hands open out to the sides, thumbs out. If you don't have a ball and you have a block, bring the block towards the top half of the sternum. So it's a little above the breasts. And then we inhale and we ground the tailbone, we lengthen the side bodies, we lengthen the spine, we breathe sky in. And the block or the ball rolls or slides up the wall. Four corners of the foot plugged in, back of the neck long, broad across your collarbones. This may not be a glamorous back bend, but it's a really important one because it counters our thoracic curve forward that we're over accentuating in our daily lives, whether we're on a computer or we're gardening or we're just leaning over the dishes, leaning over to brush our teeth or tie our shoes. Fluid breath. And then we come back up. Now take the block behind you or the ball between your shoulder blades and come back to the wall. Okay? And now with the block or the ball, you can bring the down towards the lower tips of the shoulder blades so that you can stand strong, ribs to hip pointers. So don't throw your hind end back. If you're like me, that's going to be an easier way to stand. Also, those of you who throw the pelvis forward, hollow the groins back. Inhale, lift heart. Broaden across the collarbones. Let your arms come to the sides. Let the head rest back, back of the neck long, front neck flexors turned on. Come into your standing back bend with the support of the block or the ball. Feel into the connection down the legs into the four corners of each foot. Balance weight on each side. Breathe into opening across the heart center. And release. Okay, so here now I want us to use chair and blocks to come into. So you can use chair or wall. We did this, I think we did this last week or the week before. If you have a bolster, you can bring it against the chair. If not, you can bring a blanket onto the chair for padding for your foot. Or you can come down the wall, okay? So here's where we're going. We're stepping up and lowering one knee. So I have a triple padded mat. You may want a blanket under your knee. And we come forward and we're in a lunge, okay? A lifted leg lunge. So you can do this a lot. So we've done this a lot on the wall at the studio with a bolster. I can show that as well. Where we're going to come to is we're going to walk the blocks back and see, can we lengthen up? How far back and up can you get? For some people, it'll be out here. For some people, you'll be able to come closer and closer to the foot. You may even be able to come to the chair or to the wall, okay? Fluid breath wherever you're working. I'm going to come take a look. Okay. That looks good, Donna. Just make sure there's no pinching in your low back, right? Okay, so don't come back to the chair if you feel like you're compromising in the low back. Okay. Beautiful, Anna. Good, Sue. Fluid breath. Yeah, see, you're really open in that direction. Good. Keep the back of the neck long, so nod nose towards mouth. Beautiful, Jill. Ellen. Nice, Jonathan. That's a good alternative. Good, Cynthia. Nice, Debbie. Nice use of the upper back bend also. Okay, let's come down this side and try the other side. It looks like you've all figured out where you want to be, but I'll show it on the wall just in case. This is a good movement towards Virasana, towards opening the quads. If you want to use a wall, you just bring your foot up the wall. We used to wear socks, so our foot would glide easily down the wall, and then you can come to the foot up the wall. Okay, you could also put the bolster against the wall to make it softer. And I like to pause. Pause and feel into, how's my knee? What's happening with my pelvis? Do I feel 4 corners of the front foot? And then I may be able to move my knee back more towards the wall. I may be able to walk in and come to fingertips. Tailbone towards earth. I may be able to lengthen up and bring the arms up and back to the wall. Okay, but can I keep the ribs reaching hip pointers? So I looked at myself in the screen and I was compromising that a little. So I think today I would stop here, tailbone towards earth. I'm feeling a good stretch in the quad. Nice fluid breath. Can you invite in the ujjayi? Can tension or stiffness that you've found wash out with the exhales? And then let's release. If you're on the wall, then we just turn to the side to release the leg. And we come up. Okay, so let's come back up for Natarajasana, dancer pose. You can use a chair again. You can use the wall again. It's your choice. You can use neither if you'd like. So if you use the chair and you're facing it, you can press down into it to find the lift. If you use the wall, even better, because your arm could probably come higher. Step a little distance from the wall or chair so that you can hinge. And we bring one foot up into the hand. Again, your choice. Stand strong on the 4 corners of the other foot and then find that lift. In fact, think of a hot air balloon lifting you skyward or reach up, and then let the heart reach forward as the foot reaches back. Heart forward, foot back. Foot rises, opposite hand on the wall may rise. If you're on the chair, you may push down into the chair to stretch across both collarbones to both shoulders. Find your hip pockets. Feel into stretching towards the shoulders. Take one more inhale, and then exhale, release. And then we'll try the other side. So we pause with the breath. Pause in Tadasana, letting the head rest back, the eyes rest back in their sockets. Let's breathe for a moment into the heart, knowing that we're not just stretching the body open, the physical manomaya kosha. We're stretching open all of the koshas. And as you're ready, bring the foot into your hand. Pause in your runner's stretch and lengthen at the hip flexors. And then as you're ready, reach the foot back into the hand as the other arm comes forward. Heart and foot reach away from each other. Can you reach from the heart up through the top of the head? Can the hot air balloon still lift and lengthen the spine? Can you invite sky and water into the pose? Fluid breath. One more inhale. And then exhale, release. And come back to standing. Inhale, hands to the heart. Can you recognize how the physical body feels? Can you recognize energy moving in your physical form? Can you recognize thoughts and emotions that may be passing by? Okay, so now we're going to come into some forms of Virasana. First step, I'm just going to give you alternatives, and you can come to the one that works best for you. First is to sit at the front of the chair and draw a leg back, okay? And why don't we all start with this one, and then I'll just take you farther. And those of you who stay, you can choose to stay in a pose or go back to one. So one leg forward, one leg back, heels of the hands on the chair. We lift the heart, lengthen the back of the neck, and we open into this one leg stretch. We take a few breaths. Maybe easier today than other days because we did that stretch with the foot on the chair already. Okay, if you're going to move on, you can take that leg out and bring the other leg back. Take a few breaths into this side. If you want more of a stretch, you take the foot back farther. You may bring the sit bones towards off the chair. You find a lift in the heart. You may lean back the spine a little. Breathe into the opening. Let yourself be in this pose. So you can bring the sit bones back onto the chair. Really kind of let yourself lean back to counterbalance. If you want to bring both feet under here, lift the pelvis like you're lifting into a bridge. Okay, if you want to go farther than that, you can bring a blanket or bolster or blocks out to sit on for Virasana. So you may want to start with 2 blocks. You may want a bolster behind you for your hands. Okay, and you come onto your blocks. Again, you can have a blanket under your knees for padding. Some of you, this may be enough of a quad stretch right here, and you sit up nice and tall. You could also bring your hands back to the bolster and lift the heart and just lean back. Broaden across the shoulders. As you're here for a while, you may be able to come down a block. I'll turn sideways so you can see it from a different angle. And then we come back. And we just feel into the posture as we go. We may be able to take it back further. Some of you may be able to come down to elbows. Lifting the heart, staying long from shoulders through the knees. We breathe into the stretch. And in poses like this, if you don't take it too far, you can come back into gentle somatic walking, which is what I'm doing now, one knee reaching and the other knee reaching. Don't do that if it feels tense in any way in your knee joint. Feel your front neck flexors work as you lean yourself back. Okay. Some of you may be able to come off this seat and bring a block in behind your bolster and come back into Supta Virasana. Knees forward, you can sit on the bolster. You could bring a pillow in for your head and you can lean back and rest, arms to the sides, kind of like Baddha Konasana, but you've got your legs folded back and you could rest there. Wherever you go to, make sure that your body isn't gripping in response to the stretch. So if your body starts tightening up in fear or in, oh my gosh, I've got to hold you together, you're pushing me so far, then back out to one of the previous poses. We want to go only as far as our body can still breathe, can still invite in sky and water. We want to go only as far is we can still tune in to what's happening in my physical form, what's happening in my energetic body. What is my mind doing? How are my emotions responding? So if you feel like you've gone into a pose that's a little farther than you'd like to stay in, as long as I'm keeping you here, lift out to one of the previous poses. Fluid breath. Letting yourself settle into the pose to see what we can learn from it. Recognizing ourselves in this posture. Allowing ourselves some time to really be there and sense and feel. Investigating the posture. Am I putting weight evenly on both sides? Am I allowing the pelvis to rest back? Does this feel okay in my low back? Where do I feel the stretch? How much can I relax? And then see, can you settle deep into the posture, nurturing yourself by letting your physical body and your energetic body take a different form. And then wherever you are, we lift back up out of the posture. And we're going to come down onto the floor, either onto our blanket pile or our bolster again, to come into Dhanurasana. And if Dhanurasana doesn't sound good to us, you can come into Salimbasana. Okay, so I'll show you both of those in case you don't remember what they mean. You can bring your block in for your forehead. So anytime it feels like bending the knees begins to feel like too much in your lower back, remember you can always come back to this back body strengthening work of Salimbasana. So we do this each class because it does help us strengthen the back body, but you can always come back there, okay? So that's the pose you can come to if you need to. Now, bring your elbows under your shoulders. Reach your hands forward, palm facing palm or palm facing floor. And then lift up your left leg, stretch it back and release. Lift up your right leg, stretch it back and release. Lift up both legs, stretch them back. Feel your pubic bone ground. Feel your pubic bone ground and reach through the bolster in a semicircle towards the inner collarbones. Now press down into your arms. The elbow can unbend a little bit as you lift heart and collarbones up. Okay, so that's moving you towards a Dhanurasana without even bending the knees. And then we exhale and we relax back down. So you can always come back to that as well. Now bend one leg, press the foot skyward and release. Then the other leg, press the foot skyward and release. Bend both knees. Press the feet skyward, pubic bone into the bolster, tailbone reaching long. Press down into your arms. Lift the heart if you'd like to. Roll towards the palms, straightening the arms, lifting the front chest. Fluid breath, and exhale. So you can see we're getting deeper and deeper into the posture. Please stop wherever's best for your body. Now again, step your feet up. You can either do what we just did or bring the hands around to the feet. You can hold the flat of the foot or the ankle or the shin, and then we lift. Now if you're on a bolster, you're also working on balance here. We lift. You can draw the feet and shins back to lift open the heart. And then we try to pause for a few breaths unless our body's saying, nope, that's too far. Then we go back to another pose. We breathe the heart open. We remind ourselves we're water and sky, and then we release. And we let the legs go wide if they want to. My feet like to come together, my knees wide, and I rest. And I let the spine unfurl and the body soften. And for me, I actually feel my heart rate has picked up. I feel the pulse of my heart. I like the feeling of the energy moving. And then we can straighten the legs out again. Think of all the back bends we've done here on the bolster. Which one speaks to you right now? And we step back into that back bend, whichever one. Fluid breath. Really breathing the torso open, inviting in sky and ocean, inviting in sunlight, inviting in our families and our friends, the beauty of the day. And then we release and we rest and we soften. So if you've had enough, or if you need a break, in fact, let's all do it. Let's all just lift onto hands and knees. Your knees can be around the bolster if you have a bolster. And let's inhale, cow. And exhale, a gentle cat, because that's the direction we haven't really gone for a few moments. Then inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Gentle cat. Rolling back through to cow. Follow your own breath. And if it's comfortable, close your eyes. Turn in to look at the inner landscape. Feel into the inner ecology of your body. The energy body, the emotional body, the mental body. How do they weave into this physical form? And then let's come back to neutral. And let's come back for one more back bend for whichever they are. In fact, let's go through the series and you can stop wherever you like. So forearms onto the floor. We lift the heels, lift the heart, lift the head. Maybe the arms straighten. We lengthen out. And we exhale back down. We may do that again, or we may bend the knees. Press into the hands, lift the feet, and open again. We may stay with this one, exhaling down. Or we may want to come into Salimbasana, arms to the sides. We inhale, lift, lengthen from head to four corners of the feet, broaden across the shoulders, reach shoulders away from hip pockets, and we exhale. We bend the knees. We place the palms. We inhale, perhaps pressing into palms, lifting feet, pubic bone grounding, tailbone, keeping the low back long. And we exhale. We go back to whichever back bend we want, perhaps reaching for the feet or ankles. And we inhale and lift. Fluid breath into our fluid body. Sky and space into all the space between the atoms of the body. One more deep breath. And then we exhale and release and rest and soften. Feel the breath. Then let's press up to tabletop one more time. And let's gently inhale a cow and gently exhale a cat. Let's rock the cat gently forward and back. Let's come back through neutral and open to cow. Let's exhale to cat, gentle cat, rock back and forth. Now pausing in tabletop, walk your hands around to the left and stretch into the right side body a little bit. Stretch back towards the right. Come back up and switch sides. Walking the hands around the other way. Stretch back away from the hands into the side body. And then come back to center. One more time. Inhale, cow. Gaze up, stretch the eyes. Exhale, cat. Look back towards your navel. Press hands away from knees. And come back to neutral. All right, let's come on to our backs. We are going to, let's have our blocks at the foot of the mat, or you could even have your chair or your bolster. So if you don't have two blocks, you could put a bolster there, a chair or a footstool. And let's come on to the back. First, open the legs wide, and if you want a pillow to keep your chin even with the hairline, then bring it in. We did all this good work on the front neck. We want to keep the neck long in the back. Open your arms today out to a T. And take the knees out to the left. And bring your left ear side bending towards your left shoulder a little bit, and then turn your gaze right. Now reaching long out the right knee, perhaps your left foot comes to the right femur bone as a sandbag. And then let yourself rest into the pose. Try to soften as much as your body will allow. Shoulders soften. The neck gets to turn. Feel inside the pelvis and notice, is there a stretch there? Feel from pelvis in along the spine. Where's the stretch? Investigating the pose. Let's turn the head back towards the sky, release the foot and bring the knees up, and switch sides with the knees. Let your right ear come towards your right shoulder in a side bend, and then turn the head. That'll help you line up your neck. I learned that from my friend who teaches anatomy for massage therapy school, and he's also a yoga instructor. Bring your foot on top of the femur. Stretch long through the knee. Breathe into the pelvis. Can you rest into the twist? My body's digesting with my twists. I haven't eaten anything this morning, so it must be still working on last night's meal. Let's release. Head turns towards sky, knees come up. And move towards your blocks or your bolster and place your feet on them. Inhale, lift your pelvis skyward. So we're in a higher bridge. And we'll make sure your head isn't on a pillow now. And then exhale, soften and roll down. Really soften at the heart center, roll down one vertebrae at a time. Rolling out the lumbar spine, coming to your natural cervical curve, lumbar curve. Exhale, tailbone reaches skyward, and we peel off the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Take a few deep inhales at the top. Can you expand the whole lowest rib ring? Can you breathe into the side bodies, the back body? Can you feel the strength of your glutes and your hamstrings and your back? And then can you soften the shoulders, soften the heart center, roll down one vertebrae at a time. Use the lifted feet to help you really find each vertebrae. Roll through the lumbar spine to your natural cervical curve And one more time. Exhale, tailbone. Peel off the sacrum, peel off the vertebrae, and lift into your lifted bridge. Should feel good. Now up in your lifted bridge, let's sway the right hip up slightly, reach through the right knee, and then sway across to the left hip for your somatic walking. Back and forth. Again, working on opening the psoas pathway as we strengthen the back body. Still trying to find the last of that opening that's possible in our practice today. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's come back to center and let's roll back down one last time. Come into your natural cervical curve and draw one knee in towards your chest and then the other. Circle your knees away from each other and back together. So this is a supported forward fold. As you draw your knees towards you, you're coming into a deeper forward fold, but your back is supported by the floor here, which is easier on the spine after back bends. Let's take the circles the other way. And then knees together, let's circle the perimeter of the sacrum, just massaging the SI joints. And let's keep going here, one direction for a while. Really trying to give a little massage to this area of the body. And then let's take the circles the other way. And then coming back to center, nod nose towards mouth. And you can pause at the almost lift of your head, front neck flexors working, or you can bring your forehead towards your knees in a tiny little rolled up seed of your body. And then release. Reach for your blocks. You can just pull them up to you with your feet if you were using them there. And if you'd like to have a double foundation, you can bring the blocks in under you like that. So I would bring them down and under me. Or you can just bring in one if one's enough. I like having a double foundation when I'm going to do kind of like a move towards shoulder stand. So here we are in our supported bridge. And we lift one leg and then the other. And we lift the feet skyward. Now, some of us have tight hamstrings. Some of us are more open, but this still may feel like work. Let the knees bend a little towards the chest so that you can relax into the legs up here and tune into the breath. Now, I want you to feel into this, and if this feels like a good spot for you, you can stay there. If you want a little more height, you can turn the block up or the blocks together up into each other and come back up for a little higher lift of the sacrum. You can feel into that. Perhaps, that's right where you want to rest. You're in a back bend. It's a slight back bend. You're getting the benefit of legs up the wall. And we're resting into making this as restorative as we possibly can. Fluid breath. Feeling into the body. Each deeper layer. Recognizing what's here. Allowing for it to be. Even if Mara has come to call. Fears, aversions, coveting what someone else has. They all may course through us at one time or another. If we can recognize them, we can work with them. But first, we have to allow. You may want to stay here. You may want to lower your legs and just rest in a lifted bridge pose. Or you may want to try one higher move with the blocks and lift again into a higher shoulder stand, knees bent. It's up to you. Coming back to your fluid Ujjayi breath. Seeing if you can soften in whatever pose you've chosen. And then let's bring one foot at a time back to the floor. If this is too high for you to stay in bridge, lower back down to medium or low. We're going to pause here for a few breaths. Softening if we can on the exhales. And if we can't soften, then we take it one step lower. Recognizing what's here. Allowing for it. Nurturing ourselves with breath and the concentration on relaxation. And then wherever we are, let's lift up off our support. Bring the sacrum to the floor. And pause in constructive rest. Let's bring our hands to the belly. And for a moment, just massage the belly. Let your fingers move into the inner rim of the pelvis, up under the ribs, and down. Let's make circles moving up the right side, across under the ribs, and down the left. And then you can make the circle a little smaller in towards the navel, and a little smaller, like you're creating a spiral, until your hands have actually come into the belly button with your middle fingers, and then spiral back out again from the belly button out. Still keep the circles moving right though. So you might have to change direction until the circle comes big again, low into the pelvis, up into the ribs. And then place both hands on the belly. Just rest them there. Now lift onto your left toe and bring the right foot over the left. Draw the knees in towards your chest, open the arms in a T, and let the knees come over to the left. Take a breath or two in this Garuda Asana twist. Actually, 3 or 4 or 5. And then down here in the twist, release the legs apart so they're not tangled. And roll back up one leg at a time. Place your feet on the floor. Come to the right toe. Take the left leg over, crossing your legs. Lift the toe off the floor. Take the legs to the right. If you need a block under the legs or a bolster or a blanket, feel free to put those there for support. Breathe into the twist. And untangle the legs and release. Heels in line with sit bones. Inhale, lift your pelvis one more time. Exhale, roll down through the spine. And then roll yourselves over. So you are free to move into Supta Baddha Konasana for your restorative. If you'd rather have legs up on a chair or a wall, feel free to do that. If you'd rather just have a bolster under your knees for Shavasana, do that. Remember, if you have a footstool or something to put under the bolster, you could use your blocks under your knees. Bring in a blanket to cover yourself so you can really rest. Letting the legs open, letting the spine lengthen, whether you choose to be on a bolster or on the floor. Letting your arms rest out to the sides, broad across your collarbones. Broad across the heart center. Legs can open into Baddha Konasana. Feet can walk wide and knees can come together. Or legs can lengthen out on the mat. Your choice. Don't underestimate the importance of this posture, this ending pose. Mr. Iyengar said over and over again, this is the hardest pose for those from America and Europe because it's the pose of stillness. So see if you can fidget as you need to get settled and then become still. And when you find that stillness, then try to deepen the relaxation by relaxing the scalp and the forehead, the temples and the eyes, the muscles of the face and jaw, the neck and shoulders, all the way down the arms to the palms and fingers. Relax. Let the wave of relaxation wash down the spine, through the belly and pelvis, into the hips and legs, the knees and ankles and feet. Then with each exhale, we deepen the relaxation. Breathing into the heart. And then in witness mode, we watch whatever passes there. Sensations and feelings like migrating birds across an open sky. Now let's invite the ocean waves to wash in, deepening the breath. Let's let them wash all the way into the heart center, reminding us that emotions, sensations, and thoughts all move. They come and they go. Let's breathe movement into fingers and toes. Breathe our rib cage broad. Breathe sky into the body. And let's stretch in whatever way calls to us. Staying with our awareness, let's slowly begin to move ourselves towards a comfortable seat. Take your time. If you want to roll over and rest for a few breaths and integrate the practice, please do. Nurture yourselves as you bring yourself out of the practice.